Good morning, Yair. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for the invitation.
Just a minute, Thomas. Can I introduce you, please?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. I thought that was an introduction. Okay.
Now, we want to introduce you a little bit more, just for that. So the first session will focus on the convergence between circular and sharing economy, checking how this can be taken from concept to implementation. And I want to introduce Thomas Rau. So Thomas Rau is an architect, entrepreneur, innovator, a dancer, and a recognized thought leader on sustainability and circular economy. He's the founder of Rau Architects, which has been recognized for being at the forefront of producing innovative circular buildings. He's also the co-founder of Turntoo and Madaster, two interesting initiatives that we will be hearing about directly from him. Thank you, Thomas, please.
Okay, thank you. So I tried to share my screen. I hope that works. Yes, again, good morning, everybody. Thank you for the invitation. So I prepared a small lecture, and the lecture is about the Maxit. It's about the mental exit. I mean, so we don't have time to talk about tricks or something which is nice. We really have to change. We have to change the system. And mostly we're talking about the how and the what, and this is very important. And I think we have a lot of experts today that talk about the how and the what. But let's start with the why, because if we don't know why, what are we doing then? So I call it the Maxit. And then we have sustainability. And just to make it clear, sustainability has nothing to do with circularity, because sustainability means we are optimizing what we have. We are optimizing the system. But if you optimize something, it means you don't change it. So if we think it's not a good idea to optimize something anymore and we should change it, then we need a completely different instrument, and this is not sustainability. So I think the real change is not the climate change, it's the mind change. So we have to change our minds. We have to change our relation towards everything what makes our life possible. Because at least at Christmas night 1968, we realized by this beautiful photo, the whole sustainable movement started after this photo, because we realized this fragile buffet is not from Shell, it's not from Apple, it's from no one named Earth. And if we are somewhere which is nothing from us, then we know we are the guests and we are not the host. And I think this is the big challenge we have to focus on, and we have to realize we are not the host, we are the guests on Earth. And if we are guests somewhere, then maybe it's a good idea just to recognize and to realize, so what are the house rules? So just let me mention some of those house rules. So the Earth is a closed system. What we have, we have. What we don't have, we don't have. That's it. Until in this moment, we have exactly the same amount of gold on Earth than 3 billion years ago. So the Earth is a closed system, and everything what is physical is limited. And then we, of course, we understand that in a closed system, there is no indefinite growth. This is really completely impossible. So that means, how can we organize it? But the good thing is, our mental growth is unlimited. There's no limitation for our mental growth. And that's, we can call leadership. So we need leadership. We need leadership of everyone's life. So everybody has to become a leader for his own life and to realize that we are dependent on everything. Another rule is everything is a gift. Nothing is from us. And you know, if everything is a gift, it's not about circular and sharing. It's about circular is sharing. Because we have to share all the gifts which are given to us. And then maybe another fact is that our existence is temporary. I mean, nobody from you will leave this planet alive. This is 100% sure. So our existence is temporary, but that means that our needs are also temporary. And if our existence is temporary and our needs are temporary, that everything we do is a temporary aggregate. Every building, every car, every product, every carpet, everything is a temporary aggregate to serve a temporary need from someone who's temporary on planet Earth. But the funny thing is, everything is temporary, but the consequences, they are permanent. I mean, you see, we all remember this traumatic incident in London. I think 75 people, they died in this apartment building. And then the company who produced those plates for the facade, they said, yeah, we already know we produce 1 million square meters more of these plates, but we don't know where they are. So that means we have to try to get aware what are the permanent consequences of our temporary decisions. That means for architecture, I'm an architect, so let's see, what does it mean for real estate? That means real estate doesn't exist. It's a mobile estate because it's a temporary aggregate. And maybe it's a mobile estate for 3 days, maybe for 30 years, maybe for 3,000 years. It doesn't matter, but everything is temporary. So you see, we have a completely wrong perception what reality is. So we have to learn in what reality we are living. So there's another aspect. There is also no scarcity of material because in a closed system, scarcity doesn't exist. And you know why? Because everything is limited. So everything in a closed system is a limited edition. Like in art, everything is a limited edition because we know it's closed. So we shouldn't talk about scarcity of raw materials. We should talk about that material supplies are a limited edition. And then the question is, how can we facilitate something which is limited as guests? And if you want to organize something which is limited in an unlimited way, you need an unlimited source. In nature, it's the sun. I mean, the sun is an unlimited source, and it's facilitating the limited processes in nature. We call this the 4 seasons. And then the question is, who or what is then the sun for the second nature? What we are doing, we are building buildings, we are making cars, roads, city, whatever. So, but who or what is then the sun for the second nature? And the sun for the second nature has to be an unlimited source. So the unlimited source sun in the second nature is data. Because everything what has a data has an identity. If you have an identity, you know where it is. And if you know where it is, it's always available. Let's focus on the next. Waste. So what is waste? Waste is material without identity. So that's why we put all those material, that's why we put the materials, the limited edition, sometimes in the crematorium. So it's a burning place for limited editions. That's what we call a waste incinerator. So we had some years ago the idea of maybe it's a good idea to give all materials and a passport in a building. So they get a documented, archived and registered identity. Because if we can organize this, then material will never lose his identity. And if material never loses identity, it will never be waste. We started this some years ago. And then we realized there's also a huge library for the limited service of planet Earth. That's a Madaster. So we started the Madaster, the Madaster for material, because we want to eliminate waste, not for 80%, not for 87%, for 100%. Because we have to write down what is given to us. We have to write down what is in this closed system. So we started this initiative some years ago. If you like, you can have a look, www.madaster.com. And these are the countries where we're working right now. The platform is already implemented in 5 of those countries. And in the other 5 or 4, we will finish it this year. So the idea is to make a global online platform for the registration of the materials. What does it mean for the design? That means we have to design in a completely different way. It makes no sense to take a linear product in a circular business model. So we have to design everything in a way that we realize we should organize a material depot. Because it's a temporary aggregate, we just need this material for this temporary answer. And if nobody likes this answer anymore, we should take out all the materials one by one out of it. That means for the existing buildings, I just give you an example. If you write it down afterwards, then you documentate a material mine. You write down what is already there. So that was a client. So we had 1 week time to write down what is in the building. So then the client realized a worthless building is organized by valuable material. So we just changed the perspective. And what you see here, we use this mine for 82% in the new building. So this is for 82% what you have seen before. In the old economy, we would throw it away. In the new economy, we realize, well, wait, it's a limited edition, it has a value, so let's take care for it. And then in the forward direction, you design a depot, because then you know already, okay, there is a moment that nobody likes this building anymore. So we have the material mine, we have the material depot, and now we have the material bank. The coincidence, it's also a bank. It's the most sustainable bank in the world. It's the headquarter of the Triodos, and it's a bank, and it's a depot. It's a wooden building. It's for 92% wooden construction. It's the first remountable office building in the world. You can see it here. So you see here the wooden construction. We use 165,312 screws because we have to connect everything in a dry way because we want to take it out. But what makes it a bank, a material bank, because it's registered in Madaster, and in Madaster you can organize a passport, but you also can see, so what is the material value right now, and what is the material value in 10 years or in 15 years. So that means the depreciation of a building is not going back to 0. The depreciation is just going back to the minimum value of the material in the building. So there's a huge financial incentive to write everything down. Yes, and I nearly finished. So what is the big agenda? Let's talk about the big agenda. And the big agenda is that material as a service, but better to say material is a service. And if material is a service, we have to share it. So what you see here, the blue wave is going from the left to the right. This is the value creation chain. So the mines, they are selling the material, and we make a product, and the user has it, and then we recycle it and we share it a little bit, but at least it's get waste. In the backwards direction, from the right to the left, we have the value sustain chain. So that means we have to take care for it, everything what we don't need anymore. So it must be sure that you can give, if you take something from someone, he's the same one where you can give it back. So we have to connect, and this is about circularity. We have to connect in a conscious way the value creation chain and the value sustain chain. And that means the mines, they're not selling any more material, they rent it out. They rent it out to share it with the world. And if someone doesn't like it anymore, he just can't give it back. So it's all about sharing about everything. So we could say circular economy is the economic, legal, and cultural consciousness connection of value chain and the value preservation chain. So this is a big agenda, a world where humankind can use material forever. And if you want to use material forever, you have to share it forever. And we all know the Sustainable Development Goals, the 17th, I think this is a genius idea, but they all talk about the how and the what. So I add the 18th SDG, and the 18th SDG is about attitude and humanity. It's about our relation between us and everything what makes our life possible. We have to bring this relation in balance. And for that, we need the 17th SDG. Yeah, and I think it's completely clear that this is the biggest agenda ever, that we are spiritual beings on the human journey. So we have to identify not ourselves through what we have, but who we are. And I think this is something we have to learn, and it's time to learn it. So that was a small pop-up about my thoughts, Yair and Yair.